Okay, I'd like to welcome everyone to the Atchison County Commission meeting for Tuesday, July 23rd. I'd like to call the meeting to order. We do not have invocation this morning. If you please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Comment? Seeing none. Approval of the minutes. Did everyone have a chance to read the minutes from Tuesday, July 16th, 2024? If so, do I have a motion to approve?
So moved. Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Passes 3-0. Commissioner comments. Commissioner Rivas.
Can I go last? He's not here.
Oh, sure. Commissioner Knoll.
I had a chance to go to the Amelia Festival Saturday night. What a spectacular night. If they ordered the weather, they ought to order from the same spot again, because that was fantastic. Excellent crowd, excellent fireworks. So my congratulations to Atchison and all involved on fantastic event.
It was a great weekend, so I appreciate that, those comments. Last night, the Farm Bureau had their annual meeting in Effingham, and Commissioner Rivas and myself attended. It was good. They had a great speaker, and just a really good platform to be able to network and visit with constituents. That's I look forward to every year. So she's not back yet.
I would
Okay.
Yeah, I would echo what they both you said, and I would also with the speaker last night. So it's okay to eat more beef.
Yeah.
Learned that it's
Yeah.
all right. But no, I would like to recognize, even though she stepped out, Jody and the committee that helped put together the hot dog feed last week for the county employees. I was able to go this year and stay for a little while and visit with quite a few folks, and we also found out who the head wiener in the county is. So that'd be Joe Snyder. So he wins the Wiener Award. And he did a great job wearing the costume, so that was great. It was kind of fun. But everybody had a good time. It was very nice. It's good to see a little bit of morale builder, and everybody had fun just visiting.
Okay. Awesome. Business. We have Scott Howard, our IT director. He is here to go over the request for proposal bid opening. We are a little early. Should we wait?
I would say no.
Okay.
Deadline was 5 yesterday. So
Okay.
everything should be,
Okay.
and there was only one bid received, and that person is here.
Okay, perfect. Just wanted to make sure. Thank you.
So this is for you. And then this is your bid.
I'm not quite sure on the procedure on all this, so I just need to go over what the RFP was.
I think that's what you're doing.
Okay. So we've sent out a request for proposal for a couple IT projects. One was assessing our our roles and responsibilities so that we can then inform the decisions on the next few projects within the county. That's just basically figuring out what departments do what, who in that department has access to what, and what they need access to. So from that project, we'd spill into actor, director, and group policy. But from there, we would use what we learned in the first project to build that up in our environment. We'd make sure that what policies we need for people to be able to access certain things. They have those policies are created or informed by those roles that we discussed earlier. Going on to the third project. We would then restructure our file permissions and our file shares so that they match those roles and responsibilities, so that the appraiser has access to the appraiser's files, which is the case now, but we would just verify everybody has access to the right stuff. And then going on to 4 and 5, 4, we want to figure out what data is sensitive, what has like social security numbers, personal information, HIPAA information, stuff like that. And then in 5, we would use the information from the first project and from the fourth project to then lock that information down, so that only certain people who need access to it have access to it and can only ever access it, even if it is distributed improperly. So
Okay. Thank you.
we had a decline from C1. They were asking for more time.
Okay.
To do the project, but I feel that they they had, I think, almost a month, 3 weeks or something like that to come up with the proposal.
You need that open one? Yeah.
We had a proposal from K.S. Connor. And I believe there's several copies in here.
Thank you.
It's in there, copy. Yeah, if you want to see like that.
Do you want to go through them? Um,
Phillips, we come back a little bit later and do its recommendation.
Yeah, that's actually.
I guess I have
great
one
idea.
question is, what's the time frame on getting all this stuff?
For that, I would actually refer to the 10 here.
That's going to be highly dependent upon the availability of staff. Of course, we don't want to drag it out any longer than we would have to. But given the depth and breadth of it, I would see it, on probably the quickest side, about 9 months, and possibly even out to 2 years, depending upon the cooperation and when we actually get down into the meat and potatoes of it.
I wonder, yeah.
How much, because that's the challenge of this, is that we don't know what we don't know.
Right.
But as far as being, and that's what I've put some timeframes, estimated timeframes of, some of them are 1 month to 3 months to be able to do different phases and projects. But again, it's all completely dependent upon what the availability of staff is, because, at the end of the day, we still have to be able to serve the citizens of the county and not really cause too much interruption of the elected officials.
And just so I understand, so obviously there has been a need for this because it's been brought to the commission's attention several times, with questions. Once these projects are complete, I mean, this is a kind of a one and done cleanup for the county type Because then when you're onboarding anyone in the future, you would set them up of what they need to know
Mhm.
versus like, right
And-
now it's kind of cleanup mode of getting people where they need to be only.
And essentially, it makes it pretty easy. Once you do go through these projects, all you're basically gonna do is onboard somebody, create an account and add them to their role. And then their role is what dictates what their responsibilities and what access they have.
Okay.
So
You just click the boxes by the things they need.
instead
Yeah.
of individually assigning permissions like we do now,
Okay.
So. Does any of this have residual costs, like now that we have done these projects that we have a reoccurring cost year after year?
and I think they're,
And what are those costs?
Towards the end, I think.
Yep, and that was the question I had too, because I thought we were bidding out projects, right? So
Okay.
beginning to end. And so then I just had some questions on the licensing fees and the managing services.
Oh.
Which you can clarify that maybe for us when you come back with the recommendation.
we can do that.
Not to read too much here, Scott, but on the monthly recurring summary. Now, I'm just assuming some of these license fees, we already are paying something, they're doing some of these things now. Is this just, or is this in addition to?
This would be an addition to, I don't
Okay.
believe anything would be
Everything's
replacing
getting swapped
anything.
out. Okay.
But the way you also organize the RFP is because the projects are codependent on one another, basically. So,
They
okay,
kind of fall into each other.
yep,
It's kind of all or none, really. You
Yeah.
can't really just piece these, yeah.
I mean, you could do a few at a time. It's just to get to your ultimate goal, that the ones that we really want to do are the last two, the finding what we have and then protecting that information.
Did we talk about doing this under ARPA?
mhm,
Right, make sure.
Yeah.
That's a great use for ARPA, so
I
one
agree.
time get things
I agree,
caught up.
100%.
So with respect to the monthly recurring costs that
Mhm.
they can be budgeted.
Okay, so. All right, well,
I'll just take a few minutes to take a look at it where you need.
Is that
So you have
something
it. that.
So back a little bit.
in a little bit, or?
I'd like
Next week.
I'd like next week if I could.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And how much time do you?
So you can keep these if you want.
Oh, okay.
Like I've got a copy ready, so.
All right.
Sounds good,
Thank
thank
you.
you,
Okay.
thank you for coming.
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay. Next is Mark Zeltner, Finance Director, with a purchase order approval for Senior Village Pass-Through Fund.
Yeah, so we received some money that's in signs funds that we received through some insurance companies. So I receipted that in to our pass-through fund, and the documentation's attached, but this is just to pay it out to Ensign.
Okay. Look for a motion to approve the purchase order as presented by our Finance Director in the amount of $6,725.54 to come out of the Senior Village Pass-Through Fund for payouts of Senior Village money received from Ensign. That is after the sale dates of service. Do I have a motion to approve?
So
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye. Aye. This is. Read this one out.
We do have one other thing that came up as well.
Okay.
The purchase order. Okay, so, I was unaware of this invoice until I received it not too long ago, yesterday, from Carney Construction. It was an addition to the concrete pad on the north and south sides of the generator. It's for labor and materials for $860.87. So made up a purchase order. If you wanted to approve it with ARPA funds.
And our original generator,
It is-
forecasted cost was less than what we had.
Yes, and
Okay.
there is still actually money available allocated to the generator project.
Okay, that's what I
Trying
was,
to pull that out.
I think you still wanted to put a fence or landscape or something around it or whatever. You talked about that.
Yeah, I don't know where they're at with any of that.
Yeah, so that would be very much there.
okay, so I would look for a motion to approve the purchase order as presented from our finance director to Carney Construction in the amount of $860.87 out of ARPA funds for the addition to concrete on the north and south side of the generator. This is for labor and materials. So I have a motion to approve.
So moved.
Say,
Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passes 3-0.
Yeah, so after that, there would be $2,611.66 remaining from the initial allocation for the generator.
I would like to learn more about landscaping before just spending money.
I guess I
think
wrote
that
this.
seems
So probably have Brian in at some point to,
yeah. I just don't know that that's really a need at this point, and if it is, just understanding why.
yeah, I'll get him scheduled.
Okay.
yes. But see you really real quick.
Yep.
Mark, when were we gonna get an update on the outstanding accounts receivable and?
So I just worked with her with the PH2 billing company yesterday.
Okay.
We did a Zoom call. We went through 9 pages of it. And she's putting notes. The 2 gals that's working on it is putting notes in there. She missed a couple things. It was almost ready to hand over to us, but she missed a couple things and wants to follow up on 2 items that they think they can rebuild before they turn it over to us. So she said to give them 2 weeks and they would have it ready. When we looked at it yesterday, there was $309,000 of uncollected debt. But some of that I think is gonna have to be written off. So I told Pat when I got it, received the final one, that I would share it with him and he'd go over it too. There's about 83,000 that they think, or they're telling me that is really uncollectible. Because there's something about a senior village level of care. There was not a level of care for this resident tied to senior village, so they were kind of in limbo. So if there's not a level of care at the state tied to the facility, we can't bill them, we can't go after them. It just goes away because someone didn't do the job appropriately. So, but they're gonna outline those things so it's easy to follow and understand. And we can show each resident what their account balance is. And try to pursue some sort of collections. So soon.
Thank you. All right. We're a little ahead of schedule, but Dustin is here, so we'll go ahead with Dustin Falk. He is the rescue captain and he has a couple of purchase orders to go over with the commission today. Welcome.
Thanks.
He might have some documentation too, but there's also a copy attached behind those POs.
Or say email.
Thank you for taking the rescue cat on, Jeff.
Thank you. I
Awesome.
was happy to do so. So
You're the right guy.
yeah, appreciate it. So I hope Corey sent you. Okay.
Yep, we have
Yeah.
them.
Okay. Would you like to start with the AEDs?
Sure.
Awesome. So right now we have Life Pack 12s that are on our rescue trucks, one in Atchison, one in Effingham. So those are now called, what did Corey say the other day? They're not a medical device anymore. They're no longer will be used for medical devices. So we talked and we felt that buying an actual Life Pack for our rescue trucks that they like Corey just got from through Arbor funds last time, felt that wasn't a good fit. The money was not, I think it was like 36,000, wasn't it, for the 2 Life Packs? We just thought that may be a little, yeah, that may be a little too far over our heads. So He tasked one of our, Mike with EMS to kind of find something that would kind of fit all of the criteria what we need. So, we're looking to purchase the LifePak 1000s with the ECG display. So basically that gives, our AMTs and paramedics that are on rescue, because we have a few of those, gives them a little bit of a care they can differentiate, prior to EMS's arrival, so they can give care because they can kind of see the ECG line, squiggly lines. If see, I don't know what that means. So they,
Conductivity of the heart.
yeah. So they can they know what to do with when they look at that. They can provide care prior to EMS's arrival. So we're looking to buy two of those for they're $1,999. We need two of those. That doesn't say on there. So we're looking to use ARPA funds for this to provide them for the east and west side of the county.
And I know we asked Corey when he brought this to us, I believe the lifespan is what, 7-10 years?
Yeah, these are good. You gotta
Yeah.
get batteries. and
Yeah.
You gotta buy new pads, but,
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah, and
these are like the AEDs you'll see.
yeah,
Mhm.
a lot
I think he said there was a one-time expense for the cuff or whatever that they.
So
that they
this
use.
doesn't have all the bells and whistles of what a life pack does. This is just basically an AED, and it also has it just when you hook the pads up, you can just watch the rhythm on the screen. It's just a little like an iPhone screen basically on there, and they can see it. The AEMTs and megs can see that. So there's no other than batteries and pads. There's really no expense up until the life expectancy of the machine goes away.
okay.
So
So if we did use ARPA funds, this isn't gonna be staring back at us next year of
no, no,
needing to budget for it.
no. We have in my prior role, I've had AEDs at the city for a very long time. They've been on the wall for 5 or 6 years, so I don't have any problem saying that they won't crap out next year. So
Okay,
And you guys will monitor them and check them.
yes, so that's part of my job
Like your
is to maintenance and go through them and make sure they're working.
Do you guys have a trainer AED?
So we do, but it's not this model. So we'll have to look into maybe this model, but essentially AEDs are all kind of the same.
Yeah.
They kind of, I mean,
They
there's,
see what to do.
yeah, so, but we do have EMS does have a trainer.
Okay, I'm sure it's fine.
Yeah. So, but it comes with a carrying case and it'll be ready to roll outside of the box. So,
and just to reiterate what Captain Falk said, that the life packs that we're currently using are no longer considered medical devices by the FDA. So that's why the need is here to get these replaced. So I would look for a motion to approve the purchase order for EMS and rescue for 2 recertified life pack 1000 AEDs with ECG display and carrying cases in the amount of $3,999.98 to Bound Tree Medical out of ARPA funds. Do I have a motion to approve?
Someone.
Yeah, second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passes 3-0. Do you have a pen motion? How do you sign that?
under the department head.
Yep. Thank you.
All right, so on the life jackets, we kind of sat around at the last rescue meeting. It was like, what do we need? What's something that we can use? And we are all on the same consensus of we need some new life jackets. So the ones we have now, they're set to be out of date and they're kind of falling apart. We've had those for a number of years. I don't remember when we first got them, but they're at least 10 years old. It's when we bought the new boat, probably 10 years ago. So these are kind of something different. I reached out to Parks and Wildlife and kind of figured out what they would use. We want to be kind of the same standard with the equipment that we carry on ourselves on the boat. So the first ones, they are not an act, they're a life jacket, but they don't inflate unless the person falls in the water. So they're a little more maneuverable when we're on the boat and if we'd ever have to get a patient, get in there. The life jackets now, they're just big and bulky, so they don't work. If we have to do patient care, they're kind of a hindrance. So if we'd ever go in the water, they would inflate. They're automatic, and if they ever would inflate, you just recharge them with a new CO cartridge and go about our business. But in that same instance, if we would ever have to get in the river, we don't want to just do that. I don't feel that they would be adequate to do an actual rescue. I'm sure they would save our lives, but if we'd actually have to get in the water and do a rescue. So as you can see on there, there's the First Watch Swimmer PFD. That's an actual life vest with the foam and everything in it. It's ready to roll. You can jump in there. It's not I don't want to say it's disposable like the first ones, but it's it doesn't cost money to when you use them. So they're a little bit better per se for actual rescue operations instead of just being
bulky.
Yeah. So the other ones, the inflatable vests, they have a CO cartridge and you
I've
can
got two of those.
yeah.
Yeah, I think those would be hard to
Yeah.
operate once they.
Yeah. So we hoping that this, and they have I think I read there's like a 4-year lifespan on these vests that we're getting. So eventually one day we might have to budget for something like that, but
The prices don't seem that bad.
no. So this is what Wildlife and Parks kind of recommended. That's what they use so we just kind of went with the same standard, and there will be a patch on the back of our vest that say rescue as well. So you can see who we are, I guess. But other than that,
I just have a couple questions
That's
for
fine.
clarification. So, you had, compared them to our old vests.
yes,
So our old vests are old, but more importantly, they're bulky and
yes,
prevent patient care.
yes. So if we have to do patient care, they're kind of bulky and they would not be as well
Okay.
used, or they get in our way probably. So
How often, and I know you can't predict, but have you had, or utilize these life vests in the water? I know you're on the water for Amelia and all the things. Recently, I
Yes.
saw that.
Yeah.
But I'm just wondering how often you're on the water, and then will you always have 6 people on there?
So, there's 3 so we have 2 boats. Rescue has 2 boats.
Okay.
So we're going to divide them up into the 2 boats.
Okay.
It's been, so looking back 5 years, we're on the water for Amelia those 2 days, and then we're on the water for the duck race. We assist with that, and then we're on the water for at least 1 day in the first beginning in the summer or spring. We always get the boats out first nice day we can and run them up the river, get them hot and get them warm, and make sure there's nothing wrong with them. So we're on the water then, and then we do have a big training usually on a Saturday that we're all on the water. So
Where do you train?
on the river.
Other, okay.
Yeah.
I think about
So-
Warnock or something like that.
We trained out Warnock, and we seen a bunch of snakes. So we were kind of out of going out to Warnock, and we also went out to the State Lake, and we've seen some snakes out there. So it's better not to see them. We can't see them on the river when it's flowing.
But
So
you're in the water with the vest and everything.
yeah. So soon as we step on the boat, out of or in the water, we have the county protocol says we have to have a life jacket on. So soon as we are in the boat, everybody's got a life vest on.
So will these implode then?
Yes. So
Okay. And then you'll have to have the gas to,
Inflate.
yeah, they inflate.
Yeah.
yeah.
So
Inflate them, and then you'll have to have the gas to
Yeah, it's like a
$40.
$40, they're like $40 to buy the new canister and the, I can't remember what they
You
call
can
it.
activate them or the water will activate them.
Yeah.
Okay, same way, yeah.
So
You
if
guys have any
they,
other
they always
questions?
have a.
No, that seems pretty reasonable. I mean, now you get some extra CO2 cartridges.
I didn't think about that when I did the quote, but they're $40, I think.
Yeah.
So I can always,
For any year I need.
yeah, so we hope never have to blow them up, but
You can do it once, I think, in training.
yeah.
It's interesting.
yeah. So we watched a YouTube video on them on how they kind of work, but it's kind of violent if you when you
Right.
go in the water and they do blow up. So which they kind of have to be. It's like an airbag. So, but other than that, that's all I have.
Okay. And then moving forward, you'll work with Corey, and if these only have a 4-year lifespan, then you'll have to kind of like incrementally or
Yes.
plan for it
Yeah.
to be in the
So
budget.
The actual vest doesn't go bad, but it's the bladder inside.
Okay.
I think they sell those.
Okay,
The actual bladders that go inside of them. So
not the
that's,
vest you're.
yeah,
just
it's just the safety bladders or so.
Okay, all right, I would look for a motion to approve the purchase order, as presented by our rescue captain to All Hands Fire Equipment for 6 inflatable life vests in the amount of $2,539.08, to come out of ARPA funds. Do I have a motion to approve?
Yep, so
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye. it's actually 12 vests total.
I need to change the purchase order.
You just let's do it.
Yep, got it. 12 inflatable vests.
Where your pen?
Yep. Thank you. And thanks for
Not a problem.
explaining it.
No, that's why I'm here for.
I got to go out on the boat a couple of years ago.
Yeah,
with
that's what
Windmill,
I
and that was
Thought you
a
did.
learning,
Yeah.
learning experience.
So, no,
You hope you never have to do water rescues, but I know
yes,
it's.
we've pulled some people back, just stranded boaters. We've done that before. But I have never been involved. Okay, yes, I have been involved with a water rescue. Something like that. So,
What about when they've had like the divers come up when they had a car and stuff? You guys stand by for that as well?
I think EMS does in Atchison. So if
Fire
it's,
car has one too.
yeah, so if it's within the riverfront, Atchison Fire will take care of it.
Okay.
And I think they go either way just a little bit,
Sure.
but anything past the riverfront and probably, I would say a mile or so, then that would be our jurisdiction per se.
Yeah.
So usually Atchison Fire would take care of it if it's in the riverfront area. So,
Put you on the spot a little bit. I know Corey's been going through equipment, so have you. So how's all the rescue stuff looking? I know you've been updating things.
yeah, so everything is going better. We got that new rescue truck put in service. It looks good. I got all the equipment switched over it. And just cleaning, trying to figure out where we are and how things are going now. So we had Josh with TNT Rescue come in about a month ago. He serviced all of our extrication tools. He like literally goes down to nuts and bolts on these things and cleans them up and relubricates them and changes the oil in the pumps and changes the hydraulic oil, and he pressure checks everything before he goes back on the truck. And that was kind of interesting for me to see as just coming into this role, to see how that all's done. Let's see. So that's just cleaning, finding out where we're going, me learning my new role, trying to figure out what to check and what I need to do, and the leadership's going to be an interesting thing to learn. So
You'll do great.
yeah, I appreciate it.
You're better organized now and
Yes, yeah.
easier to deploy everything.
So not saying bad, but everything prior was deployable. I mean,
Yeah.
nothing was ever down.
Okay, good.
Yeah, so we deployed whenever we needed it, and I can say we got some phenomenal guys and gals on our rescue squad. We're about 23 people between not between EMTs, AEMTs, medics, and then what we call our rescue guys, which is just non-certified help. So we have some really good people, and they're really wanting to get going, so.
Are they spread across the county pretty good? I do.
Well, Effingham has, let's say, I'd say yeah, because Effingham has quite a few out there that respond. And then we probably have a little more on our side of the county, on the west, or yeah, the east side of the county.
But it kind of reflects what the population is, you feel.
Correct,
Okay,
yeah.
that's what I
Yeah.
was asking.
So you just never know when the call comes out, because we're all volunteered where we're gonna be at. So usually I was at the city shop and I was able just to go right over there. Well, now I gotta come in from 73 highway, so I'm gonna be a little bit longer before I get to the rescue building, but usually we have enough people moving throughout the day that can kind of go there. So, and then same way with Effingham, we have a couple guys that do shift work. One on the fire department in Atchison, so he can kind of be around some of the days, and then there's a cop out there that he can kind of go around too. So, yeah, it's a work in progress, but the progress is.
It's a good number of volunteers.
Yeah, I was very excited when I sat down, because we had a bunch of, when you look at the list, you go, holy cow, there's a lot of people on here, and a lot of I would say that if we have a good call, or not a good call, but a call that would need quite a bit of people, we would have it. There may be, on a medical call, we could have 1 to 2, if 3, but on a car wreck, they usually come running. So I don't feel like we don't ever have enough people around. So there's always something to do. Directing traffic and stuff like, yeah.
Corey told us that you've been doing great and you put a lot of hours in over there, making sure everything's in line. So we appreciate that.
Sure do. I appreciate you guys giving me the good job. So, yeah, so it's a work in progress, and everything's looking better. Appreciate you giving us that new rescue truck. That helps out a lot. So, but all right. Well, I appreciate it.
Yep, thank you.
Thanks.
We are still ahead of schedule. We have Joe Snyder, Road and Bridge Superintendent, for utility permit approval, ARPA request approval, and department updates.
Good morning.
Thank you.
So we have 3 right of way utility application. First one is Rainbow. They're installing a fiber optic cable on 302nd Road in Jewel. And I've talked to Pat and Pat Streeter with Rainbow, very good to work with. And they will be putting their box in the back slope like we discussed. So I just wanted to let you guys know that they're very good to work with. Here's the map. We just need the permit sign, and K.S.A. I stapled these because I was trying to keep everything together.
Okay.
Okay, so the signature
Was
was
it just for service to one person, or are they actually doing something different?
they're going to a person's house
okay.
there.
So I would look for a motion to approve the Atchison County right-of-way permit application for Rainbow Communications project to start July 24th for installing fiber optic cable as presented by a road and bridge superintendent. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved. Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
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 Passes 3-0. I'm trying to remember back. I know there was a reason, but why commissioners?
Okay, so
Purpose
by
you.
statute,
Okay,
isn't that correct, right?
okay.
That it has to
I
be
knew there was a
commissioner.
reason, but it's also like, you know,
Yeah.
and you deal with
So,
our right of
but
way.
you had
Like,
told me if there's an emergency,
yep,
then I can go ahead and give them. the
no,
okay.
absolutely.
And
I
then
just
it's also.
trying to remember.
And then it's also, you guys are getting to see that where they're working.
Yeah.
So if there's a problem or whatever, and then that we are working to get the lines where they need to be. in the boxes, because the boxes, everybody wants to put in the ditch.
Well, and that just reminded me also, we can see when it's something a commissioner needs to look into as far as maybe there's fiber or whatever
Right.
this situation
right.
is. We know it's happening and can find out more, so.
So this one's AT&T, is the owner. It's Alpha Underground. This was repair work. The repair work has already been done. It was on 210th and Woodson. And I always put on here that the people need to contact me, and I'm glad they did because they weren't in the spot they were supposed to be fixing. So the pedestal down there on where Woodson 210 goes into Woodson, we'd hit it, they'd repaired it, they stuck the pedestal on the edge of the road. This was them moving it, burying it, and taking care of it. So, but I talked to this gentleman at great length. Hopefully next time he gets us the information a little sooner.
All right, so I look
So they already deployed, doing it, you got.
for a motion to approve that Atchison County right-of-way permit application for Alpha Underground as presented by our road and bridge superintendent. Do I have a motion to approve?
So move.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Passes 3-0.
Okay, the third one, company owners, Lumen, subcontractors, K&W Underground. This has to do with the 59 highway and 262nd road project, them having to relocate their lines. So, it says requesting to relocate existing Lumen conduit along the middle of 262nd Street under the US 59 bridge. Scope is to place handholds on both the west and east side of the highway and directional bore between them. Current Lumen facility location conflicts with KDOT plans to update highway bridge. And I've also talked to them, and we are going to do. Let it be noted that Lumen representative and K.S.A. KW Underground representative will be expected to have an on-site meeting with myself, Joe Snyder, Atchison County Road and Bridge Superintendent, to review plans and discuss where lines are to be buried and boring required.
I think that's good, Dad.
Yeah, and I try to anything add those, I should have read the other ones, but that way they've got to talk to me before we just go out there and they're going over the top of a tube or doing something crazy, so.
Okay, look for a motion to approve the Atchison County right-of-way permit for Lumen National subcontractor K&W Underground as presented by our road and bridge superintendent. So a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passes
So how is this going right now with trying to
3-0.
better enforce these right of way rules? with the
Well,
contractors?
it's kind of like the guy down there on 210. They've never had this before. They've never had anybody try to explain to them where they want, and it's AT&T. So I talked to him at great length on how we were doing it now. He expressed concern that he's never had to do this before.
Bjork.
Yes, but he's the subcontractor. And I said, well, we need to know in advance. Well, this is emergency work. I said, no, I've been trying to get you guys to do this for 3 months. So it's not emergency work. This is something that you should have got a hold of us before. So, but most of them, like Pat Streeter, we talked about, we buried the line in the forest slope and right along the edge of the road. Just because some of them you can't get to the back slope, where you can, it'll be there. And then the boxes, the junction boxes are the ones that everybody wants to put in the bottom of the ditch. They've got to be in the back slope. Yeah, they've got to be in the back slope. So most everybody's been good to work with.
Good.
Like Kansas Gas and all them, they're right on it now. Anything, they send it to us, we get it done.
I would think he's almost blowing a little smoke, because I can't believe that other counties don't have the same requirements or that we do. That, I mean, is he just complaining because we're changing to that?
I think it's just that we're finally
Yeah.
yeah,
they were.
I'm enforcing the policies we have because you guys have asked me to.
Right.
And
That's the reason I think
it doesn't make it as easy, so.
Yeah, I'm sure the counties are saying the same thing.
All right, now I have several ARPA POs. This-
Sorry, real quick before we get started, do we have a hand, because we did ARPA's this morning. And then we have the RFP, just keeping a running total if there's several, because I haven't
do
seen any of them.
I do
And
have
so I
that.
just want to make sure that we're not,
Well, we're definitely keeping track of ours.
okay, perfect.
I can tell you that. So this first one was a tube order we just received Thursday. For metal culverts for $19,632.90.
These are going toward the 666.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
I just want to
So
make
we're
sure.
gonna get our
No,
666 taken care of.
absolutely. I just
So,
wanted to make sure so thank you for that. So I'd look for a motion to approve this purchase order for Road and Bridge Superintendent to metal culverts. For corrugated metal pipe and flared end sections in the amount of $19,632.90. And this will come out of ARPA of the $666,058 that we offset the budget this year out of ARPA.
So moved.
Second,
Okay.
quick question. So are these all for county use or will some of these also be townships doing it?
these are all counties. These are not
Okay.
townships. Now, the only thing would be is we have some on hand. If a township is in an emergency and we've got a tube, we make it work. But no, this is county use.
Let's swap it out.
Yeah.
That's good.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Passes. 3-0.
All right, the second one is for Steve Marlatt Construction, 314th pedestrian walk bridge, the Lewis and Clark walk bridge for $14,983.39. And I want to further explain this. I had asked for 3 quotes from 3 different construction in the county. I got two bids. The first one and the one we chose was Steve Marlatt at $6,200. Since we did that with all the rain and all the washing, it ate out further under the bridge. And while he was there, I just asked him to go ahead and fix it. It needed to be fixed. So the additional $8,783.39. So I just, for everybody to understand, with all the rain and everything we had, it was a lot worse before he could get there to fix it.
You can't get there when it's storming like that.
No, and when the when the creek's full, you can't.
Yeah.
I would look for a motion to approve the purchase order as presented by our Road and Bridge Superintendent to be paid out of ARPA to Steve Marlatt Construction LLC for the 314th pedestrian walk bridge washout in the amount of $14,983.39. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
I will abstain. Passes 2-0.
All right, the second one is partial payment for the 250th culvert and low water crossing. It was a FEMA Pruitt Construction for $53,102.50. And this explains exactly what he's done. All of this money was coming out of special highway, so it works. I think the total bid's 154, so
Let's finish the project.
no,
Just.
no, this.
All right, so I'd look for a motion to approve the purchase order as presented by our Road and Bridge Superintendent to Pruitt Construction. This is a partial payment, number 2 for 250th culvert and low water crossing. In the amount of $53,102.50 to be paid out of ARPA. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passes 3-0.
All right, the next one is rental for the road reclaimer for the road project we did. And an 84-inch Smith smooth drum roller for $20,538.15. And I want you all to know, we had the equipment a lot longer than that, but due to rain and some problems with the equipment, they charge us like they should for 1 week.
Okay.
So, and this would be ARPA funds also to fully equip it.
And
was
for
gonna-
that equipment, we didn't have to pay anything to get it up and
Nope.
running again.
No,
Didn't
they
think
did,
so.
they did all of
That's
it.
what I thought. Sorry, Eric, did you have something?
Oh, I was gonna say I was concerned about the time, but you know, when.
Yeah, no,
It is what it is when you have the weather.
And we figured a week when we first started, and that's what it would have been. So with the weather, and we had a few issues, they were, I thought, very fair.
All right, I look for a motion to approve the purchase order as presented by our road and bridge superintendent to Foley Equipment in the amount of $20,538.15. This was for the 1 week rental of the 84-inch Smith drum roller and the reclaimer. Do I have a motion? This will be paid out of ARPA funds. Do I have a motion to approve?
Yeah, so moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Passes 3-0.
I have another PO for Armstrong Tire, 6 $1,400 24 motor grader tires for $9,047.70. And so everybody knows these are bid out amongst several vendors, and they were the ones that were chosen.
So do they put them on?
No,
So
we do that.
We do.
but we pretty much bid everything carry out.
Okay. Well, I know
Because
that-
some places do it and some don't, so it's awfully hard to get them to, to bid that way, so
How many was
6,
for 6 tires?
yeah, I'm
Okay.
sorry.
Nope, you're fine. I just want to put it so that the public can see what we're. Okay, so I'd look for a motion to approve the purchase order as presented by our road and bridge superintendent for 6 Bridgestone tires in the amount of $9,047.70 to be paid to Armstrong Tires out of ARPA funds. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Passes 3.
And I'm gonna apologize here because I do not know the quantity on these tires.
Did they actually deliver it to the shop? Or you guys will pick up?
We go pick them up.
Okay, I'm just curious.
Yeah, no, we go pick them up. This is the lights out in 201 commercial in Atchison for some Toyo 315 80R 22.5 steer tires for our dump trucks. And I honestly think it's 6, but I don't know for sure. And it's not on here.
Do you want to wait till next week on that one? Or do you want to get?
Let me-
Emily's on there.
Is she?
Yeah.
She may not be.
No, I am. I didn't hear what you said though, because I was talking to Miranda.
How many tires were the Toyos that we got from Lights Out?
How many?
Yes.
4.
4, okay.
Thank you, Emily.
You're welcome.
So there was 4. $2,382.32.
All right, I look for a motion to approve the purchase order as presented by Road and Bridge Superintendent The Lights Out Incorporated in the amount of $2,382.32 to be paid out of ARPA for 4 Toyo tires. I have a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
And had I left on the invoice here, I could have told you, sorry.
That
She had all the invoices here at the end, so. Department update, hopefully the first full week of August, we'll be starting on chip and seal.
Great.
We're working real hard right now on getting the roads bladed and try to get them in a position that they can last till we get done before we start pulling ditches. The project on 250th, hopefully it needs to be done the 31st. So I've been out there and talked about that with the contractor. Have you guys got any questions about anything?
No, I just think it's worth notating for anyone watching, when you present us a stack of purchase orders like this, that we are utilizing purchases that you have to go toward the $666,058 that we reduced your budget for this year, 2024. So that's why it's because for someone watching, they're like, why is Joe doing all of those? But our timeline is that we must be expended by 12/31/24.
But-
So these are.
But as
expenses.
everybody knows, well, we didn't drum these up. These were purchases we were making anyhow,
100%.
and they would have came out of our line items.
But they just gotta come through us.
Right.
with ARPA, so
Correct.
just so people
Yeah,
understand.
no, I understand that
I think
because
it's
they,
important.
and I don't want everybody thinking that we're just coming up with stuff. Those tires we need.
Yep.
You know,
Also, we had pre-discussed this, so I mean, we've heard these before, so
I just
it's
want to
right.
reiterate because
we don't need to, we didn't do much discussion, but
Yeah.
we had talked about them before.
I just
So-
want to make sure
Yeah,
that that's,
so-
you know,
Good thing to-
so that we're not just like wham, bam. like
yeah,
one
no,
after
it's
another.
actually, we needed 12 tires. We had 6. We got another 6. We're gonna get those changed next week on those 2 motor graders. And these are things that are just, we budget for every year.
Yep.
So if there's any question on that, Mark, I think you want these, don't you?
Oh, no.
You don't, you're good?
Yep.
Okay, all right.
Thanks, though.
So any other questions or? All right. Well, thank you very much.
And I short break.
We're running a little ahead, but we're gonna.
Intermission.
You're not all the one that we're approving today, right? Okay, I just want to make sure. Thank you.
Next Wednesday.
This,
Or this Wednesday, it's this Wednesday.
yeah, yeah. And I've had a couple, yeah, I've talked to, another person,
Okay.
so I'll update you on that when I get a chance.
Just put that in tomorrow, not, yeah, put it in tomorrow.
Yeah. Just a fellow director, so. We also have our board, our adult board tomorrow too.
Put that on there.
So you're gonna spend a lot of time with me tomorrow. I apologize in advance.
You're fine. I imagine we'll get through that.
Yes,
We're gonna make mad early, so. that
There you
more
go.
intense the whole time.
there you go.
Okay, that's a good strategy.
Kathy does that all the time. I told Kathy this morning that I was mad at her and she's like, why? And I was like, I don't know, but you really made me mad in my dream.
Oh, yeah, oh, it
So I was
is.
mad all morning at you.
Isn't that funny how that works?
Hope you all good. How are you? Okay. Good.
He said it was one of those Farm Bureau dinners. I paid about 20 pence.
It was good, wasn't it?
Oh my God.
That pie was delicious.
Trying to find the smallest piece I could. They don't even have it. I just can't, I just couldn't do it.
It was good. All right, we have Catherine Sparks, Community Corrections Director with the year-end update, Juvenile Correction Advisory Board update, and Advisory Board meeting update.
Okay, so we had our JCAB last Monday, so I gave them the year-end report, so I wanted to be able to come and give you guys the same one. This will only be juveniles that we're talking about because I had done my adult board until tomorrow. So as of 7/5, we look to have and JSP $1,334.83 unexpended. And CMA $13,728.81 unexpended. And juvenile intake and assessment, we have $1,492.62 unexpended. So these are the funds that we did not expense from our FY 2024 grant. And we send back to KDOC in the long run. Any questions about those?
I do.
Okay.
I just wonder, because we were just having conversations of how to find money for programming,
Yes.
why we're sending money back.
So you can only use the grants for certain things, right? And so with like programming, we work with prevention. And so we're working with kids that are not assigned to Atchison Community Corrections. I can only use the funding in JSP and CMA for kids assigned to, so for the population actually assigned to community corrections. For the intake and assessment, we do have a little bit more leeway, but we can only spend that funding on kids that we do intakes on. And for items that are involved in intake.
So how do we get children assigned to us? Is that through like the schools and the guidance center?
No, that's through the courts.
The courts.
Yeah,
Okay.
so they have to commit, well, they have to commit a offense and then have a severity or risk score that would come to us.
Okay, so is this a good thing then? Less juvenile,
Yes, it's a double-edged sword. You always want less,
right?
you know, less is better.
Yeah.
Less means less crime. But it can affect our grants, you know, in long term if we have a lot less than usual, if that makes sense. So,
The big scheme though, if we only had one correctional officer because we only needed one,
mhm,
that's not a bad problem.
yes.
Yeah,
And
that's what I'm
that's-
saying, like, it sounds like,
Yes, and on our
That's-
juvenile side, we have one ISO or one JSO, juvenile supervision officer. So that actually does the probation. And then we do have Kathy, who's our ISO 2, kind of as a quality assurance on the juvenile side and adult side.
Does that make a difference too on the judge? I mean, judge's discretion about what they sentence or the recommendation from the judges?
The judge does always have discretion. I'm not sure exactly what the latitude is because they do a PSI, a pre-sentence investigation. And that kind of helps determine what would be assigned to us and what wouldn't.
Does truancy officer funding come out of one of those?
This year they will. Last year Leavenworth paid them.
revenues?
So yes, this year it
Oh,
does.
so
So
still in this year, so going forward though, it'll come out of which one?
we just created a new account, the delinquency prevention account. I think it's 230 if I remember correctly. But this is our first year distributing that money directly to USD 409. Previously it came from Leavenworth.
Okay.
So, and we just got our first installment on that one. But real quick, going back to last year, we do have three other accounts that I wanted to give you an update on their funding. So in our prevention funding, we did have $1,918.38 that we did not expense out. We had asked for a little bit more since we were starting our programming last year here. We got that money from Leavenworth, so I will be cutting a check to Leavenworth to send that back because I don't know if they have to send that to KDOC or not, but I want to have it off our hands so we don't have to worry about it 3 years from now.
is there a way, and
Mhm.
I don't understand your relationship with KDOC quite like I probably should, but when we're talking about needing money, right,
Mhm.
and having a shortfall, is there a way for when you send it back to give them a narrative of like, okay, we're seeing less here, so I can't allocate the money, but you're saving, so if you could give us more, right? Like, so it helps them understand our needs as far as, okay, we don't need to give Atchison quite that much there, but we need to give it to them down here to
Yeah.
help with your programming.
So I think the best answer for that question is when we do our next year's budget, we do that. So like, I know we need more in juvenile intake than my other two accounts. And so when I did the budget for FY 25, I budgeted in more of our graduated sanctions to go to juvenile intake versus the other two accounts.
Okay.
That type of
That
thing.
comes with the budget in the the intake or request for funds, not on
Yes,
the
yes,
handback.
yeah.
Yeah.
In my experience, just because I've only gone through 1 year of unexpended funds, I did not give any narratives at the end of the year, but they might request those this year. I'm not sure.
Okay.
Our behavioral health fund, that is a new account that we received November of 2023. It's a 2-year grant that we received. We still have $24,670 in that. Those are the funds that can only be used for mental health treatments and things along that nature. So they have to have an invoice that follows them to be able to use them. We can't use them on supplies, salaries, or anything like that. And then we do have our reimbursement account at the end of FY24, our reimbursement account set at $65,306.72. And that is where we're taking the funding for our programming during these 3 months. Okay. Any questions about those accounts? Okay. So for FY25, I know we've already discussed a little bit on what we were awarded, but we were awarded $248,421.19 to graduated sanctions. That is split between our juvenile intake, our CMA, and our JSP accounts. And then our delinquency prevention account, we were awarded $27,057.54, and that pays the USD 409 truancy officer. That's a portion of the salary there. We just received those funds 2 weeks ago, I want to say. Our first disbursement in those. On the juvenile side, it's broken down into 4 payments from K.S.A. So we just received our first disbursement. We did have a lapse in those from when our FY24 ended to when we received those. So 2 of our accounts did show to be in the negative, although the funding was coming in and has already resolved that issue. I have submitted our FY 2025 Community Programs Juvenile Justice Involved Youth Programs grant. That is the grant that I came in 2 weeks ago and had approved, that will help provide programming to Atchison County along with an additional therapist through the Guidance Center. So we did approve that one. I did take it in front of our JCAB. They also approved it. I had a minor change in line items based off how the funding was distributed out for that if we are approved. And so I think that was the only change since I came in and spoke to you guys last time. As of the end of FY24, we had 10 clients assigned to our caseload for juvenile intake. We had 94 youth referred over to cognitive programming, and then we completed 62 intakes last year. So the previous year, according to the K.S.A. numbers that I received, we had 37 intakes in FY23, and FY24 we had 63 intakes. Just because I say intake, it does not mean 63 crimes were committed. It could be a runaway, a status offense, things along that nature.
Some sort of intervention.
Yes.
Just some behavior. Is that fair enough?
Yes.
But it
Yeah.
doubled.
Yes, it did double.
Is it because of more reporting or a different judge or different people in the schools doing something different, or?
I can't tell you just from only 1 year of looking at being able to really look at the numbers and run the tracking the way I know how to. I would love to give you a definite answer on that,
Yeah,
but I could not tell you that. I can tell you that only 9 of the 62 were police drop-offs. So very serious crimes that the kid was arrested on spot and brought into our office. The rest, 50 of those were NTAs. So your status offenses or your misdemeanor offenses, that could be getting caught with a vape pen or petty theft, that type of thing, were NTAs. So they were able to not be arrested on site, but given a notice to appear in our office. And then we did have 4 police protective custody. So that's when the police take the kid into their custody due to concerns going on in the home. Other than that, I think the only other thing that I have is we do have 4 end of the year amendments. So basically what this is when they did the budget for FY24, they put certain amount of money under certain line items. So salary, things along that nature. At the end of FY24, that but that budget category was over the amount we originally budgeted for. But we had another budget category that we had not expensed all that funding from. And so we do an amendment basically to move that funding over there. And it gives a better look through when K.S.A is looking at how our funding is spent, and when we go to budget, look at how our funding is spent. So like on JIAS, we have an amendment to do salary and benefits. A big reason for why our salary and benefits is more than we had budgeted was on-call pay. We had a line item for on-call pay, but it's paid out through our salary and benefits, like on our actual check that comes. And so according to our general ledger, it's part of salary and benefits, and that's how I have to input it in the system, even though it's on-call pay that was actually paid out. We also had that 5% increase last year for salaries and benefits, and a 10% increase that kind of threw off what we had budgeted, but we still had the money to cover everything that we needed to. And then, as you know, we bought some new furniture, new desks that needed to be replaced, and then those drives to do online storage instead of having bulky filing cabinets. So that was another reason for an amendment on JAS. On JSP, we did not budget enough into our utilities, and we spent more in utilities during FY24 than FY23. So we had to budget some there. We had more expenses in gas. A lot of that was due to having new trainings that we had to do. Me being new, Kathy being new to the juvenile side, we had to travel more for trainings, things along that nature. And then again, buying that online storage and the desks and furniture we had to replace. And then on case management or the CMA account, same thing with the office supplies, gas, and utilities.
So these are all through the state budget. You just need us to
Correct.
sign off on your amendments that we know the reasoning.
Yes, and you guys, anything over 5,000, I had to bring into you. And you guys had already voted on the salary and benefits increasing, along with us buying the online storage and things along that nature.
It's interesting how we have certain grants are sending money back, but then there's other things we have.
Mhm.
I know,
It just seems like it's a lot of buckets,
and a lot of extra time wasted.
Yeah.
a lot of
Two-
paperwork.
Yeah, this
Would-
year,
would you read the dollar amounts, off which we do this, what the difference was too, that's
Oh.
curious.
Sure.
they're kind of confusing, I apologize.
No, you're fine. Okay, so the first one for electronic monitoring and housing assistance is going to office supplies
Mhm.
for $11,780.70. A line item Amberwell is going over to Wex gas card for $58.32. A vehicle purchase is going over to utilities for $979.84. A vehicle purchase is going over to utilities for $112.82. A vehicle purchase is going over to Wex fuel card for $697.83. Non-admin salary is going over to office supplies for $4,029.30. On-call is going over to salary and benefits for $24,000. A vehicle purchase is going over to salary and benefits for $9,959.63. And then additional intake funding KDOC is going over to office supplies for $3,853.10.
So these are always reclassifying the items, it's not more money, it's just moving it around.
Correct,
Right,
and I noticed it says vehicle purchase on there 3 or so times. That's not because we were gonna purchase 3 vehicles. They had budgeted in to purchase 1 new vehicle. Our other vehicle is not that old. What money was budgeted in to purchase a new vehicle was not enough to purchase a new vehicle. So we just replaced the tires on our current one, ensured that everything was functioning appropriately, and stuck with the one that we currently have because it
Yeah.
still
And
works
those are the
perfectly
costs
fine.
incurred to do that.
Yes.
Gotcha.
So I'd look for a motion to allow the chair to sign the 3 Pathway for Success quarterly grant budget amendments as presented by our community corrections director, and outlined in my summary. Do I have a motion to allow?
Move.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Passes 3-0.
I believe I'm just double checking my folder here. But I believe that is all that I have, unless you guys have any questions for me on anything. All right,
Thank you.
thank you.
Have a good day, folks. Okay, next is 2025 budget discussion, budget workshop, general budget discussion and update. So I assume you guys want to do workshop.
That'd be great.
Okay, so I'd look for a motion to recess into 2025 budget workshop until we are finished. Have a motion to recess into budget workshop.
So moved.
Say.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Passes 3-0. All right, we are back in open session. Next was ARPA funds discussion, which we will be getting an update from our finance director next week. Any unfinished business? Okay, hearing none. Trago Road resolution.
No, we need to go back and get that. Go to that final resolution to go back how we decided we ended up with the road thing. Do you have the resolution handy?
I have it pulled up.
So somebody that wants to research the road 10 years from now, they actually know where we ended up.
Well, so I had a question on that because I haven't gotten, I know we implemented the policy concerning roads in question. And I haven't seen any information on it, like with that. So I was wondering, can we?
They've already researched all that and they've decided and it's a done deal. They know for sure it's not a road.
Okay, but
we
isn't
did all
that part of the policy to provide the commissioners with that data, so we have it? Like when we make the decision?
They have presented it to us.
Oh, I looked back and I have the
Roger's
resolution,
been here, Pat, they've told us several times.
but we have a policy now where that documents.
I didn't understand that the policy was that every time, I understood the policy to be an internal policy for GIS department of how they would handle things and when there are requests for questions about certain roads. I know that there has been a file created for Trigo Road, and I think I know I have one iteration of that. I don't know if I have the most recent iteration of that. If you want to see it, I'm sure Jack's probably listening and
That would be awesome.
could print it and bring it over, you know, if you want
I
to.
think
Yeah,
it's a
that would be-
working document to give a recommendation. They've already given the recommendation more
I
than
didn't-
once.
Well, I haven't got the documents and all I had was road maps that were presented to me showing it as a road. So I just want to make sure I'm making the best decision,
Okay.
like based on the information we're given.
Yeah. I'm ready to support our county counselor and our GIS department and the recommendation on the Trigger Road. So
Okay, well, are we gonna get the documentation of how we make the decision?
Sure, yes, we can sure get that. Probably take 5 minutes.
Perfect.
I didn't understand that the policy was that those were to be provided to the commission every
I
time.
don't think
one
that's
is
the
made.
intent.
And we can sure do that, but
So I guess I'm just curious, like. If we're asked to make a decision, but the information is not to be provided to us, how,
Casey, they have shown us the information several times in
Yeah.
multiple meetings.
the resolution, I went back through my emails to make sure. Like I have the
You know, they've
resolution,
been in this room showing us things. That whole process.
well, that's I thought that was why we got a process with this
That was all done
policy.
before the policy was even formalized. The future landowners back there want to come back and give up right away and actually get it done correctly, then we'll easily future commission can make it a right. Right now, it's a private drive. And that's the decision we made. We now need to formalize it by doing this resolution.
I don't think it's out of line to ask for information to make a decision.
I know, but I think it's more of a stall and that was for whatever motive, I have no idea, but we just need to get it done right.
100%, I agree. Just want to make sure we get it done right.
Jack just emailed it to me.
Oh,
I will forward it to each of you.
thank you.
I think next time is. It's realized.
Thought you did. Oh,
No.
when did they disappear?
Well, I'll pass them on over.
Oh. Okay.
Thank you, Pat. Perfect.
What is the name of the board that appoints the judges? Is there a name for that?
I think it's the First Judicial District Nominating
Okay.
Commission or something similar.
This is perfect. This is what I was looking for. I just wanted to make sure that we had the information.
And if you could get me that phone number or that contact information sometime. Thank you. Thank you.
Share that?
No.
Just always just gets information.
He's not involved with it.
Oh, welcome.
Probably he probably did a good job with it.
Even.
And is there a time limit for any letters of interest?
The 31st,
31st.
but you could change that.
Okay.
I mean, you all could change it. You said the 31st and then you'd appoint on
Well,
Yeah.
I think there should be,
Anybody put a name in? Keep talking about here.
There. Do you know how to read these?
What?
Do you know what you're looking at when you're reading them? Like
that's
these
just historical
maps
maps.
showing the road.
Somebody, that's how
Like
I'm
it's-
support.
Well, and frankly,
And
I think
like
Andrew's
black
probably the
and-
most likely to be involved in that. So
Okay.
he might be one to really ask, but. I think it's.
Okay, so Pat, from the information we were given, your recommendation,
I don't know that I really have one. I guess my recommendation is to not leave uncertainty. So either declare that it's a road and open it up and pay for the right of way from the people who aren't donating it, or make clear that your position is that it's not a road. And, so either of those, I don't have, I think you should get rid of the uncertainty, because I think the status quo leaves some uncertainty in place, and while last time we had one of the landowners here saying they don't want it to be a road. In the future, we may have another landowner here saying they want it to be a road, and trying to help out the person who's in front of you, those are inconsistent, and I don't like the cognitive dissonance of saying it's a road when we're talking to this person, but it's not a road when we're talking to that person, and,
right?
just trying to be consistent about it.
From the maps that are sent here, does the GIS department have a recommendation for us?
I don't know, I never asked.
Well, they've just determined that it's a private drive at this point without enough right of way to be a road. That's what I'm reading, so, and that's what I'm saying, it's just a matter of saying what it is today, and then down the road in 6 months, a year, 2 years, somebody comes in and says, no, we will do it this way, and there's a right of way, mere road. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm just liking. Jack, would you be able to explain the maps? Because our resolution states that Trago Road, there was never ever, or it was never a public road. So I just want to make sure that's what these maps say, that there was never a public road. Thank you.
Which maps do you have a question on?
Just the ones that you had sent Pat, like with the
The
documentation.
historical maps, 1889, 1903.
Yes,
Those
sir.
Are third-party atlas maps. Made by an atlas company at the time. And they don't necessarily hold any legal standing. They're like Google Maps. They may not be completely accurate.
Okay,
It was just something we found in our research.
okay. So would you say, I'm just trying to understand if on the resolution stating that it was never a public road, that's where your stance would be?
From what we found, from what we didn't find, I should say, we didn't find the establishment of that road.
Okay.
And I don't know what Roger's take is on the resolution itself, but I agree with Pat, we should have
Yes, I agree.
clarity.
I agree.
Did you have any other question?
No, sir, thank you. I just didn't, there's so many maps and it's a lot of info, and so some of it is beyond my ability to know what I'm looking at when you guys do it every day, so I was just kind of getting your take on. I just don't want to put my name on a resolution that says it was never a public road if it was.
Well, what it says is that there's insufficient evidence to show that it was ever opened as a road. It does not say that it was never a road. And those are pretty parallel, but they're not exactly the same.
Maybe to say it could have been traveled as a road, but maybe it was never officially put into immortalized, that it was an open road. So,
Right.
I mean, by saying
County
it's
road.
not a road, it's like, well, I see tracks. Well, it's a road. Well, it was never opened officially as a
We
road.
don't know.
So, it makes,
Yep.
maybe it's oversimplifying
Well,
things, but I think it explains.
So the wagon trails going west, there's a lot of wagons that went on those like they were roads, but they were never roads.
Yeah,
Well, and how about this? There's a resolution from 2018 saying it was a minimum maintenance road, so.
But what we
It's
don't
hard
have
to-
is the act of the county commission establishing the road in the first place.
Okay,
So-
so the county commission acted in 2018 saying it was a minimum maintenance road.
They probably should have done that.
Well,
but it was,
they didn't know what we don't know.
And so in,
It's a-
so in next year, or the year after, they may find something that says, well, it is a road, and then we can fix this, right? I mean, something shows up in the records.
So just so I'm clear, the resolution from 2018 for minimum maintenance was voted on in error. There was no substantiated evidence saying it was a minimum maintenance road. So I just want to get it right too. Is that what I'm hearing?
This resolution recites that through the adoption of that resolution, the Board of County Commissioners, at the invitation of Walnut Township, declared this portion of Trigo Road to be a minimum maintenance road.
Mhm.
So it acknowledges that. I mean, if there's something that you want more that explains it further, I guess that could be added to it to make it clearer for the future. But I think one way or the other, you should fix it. You should fix this problem, and that's either by making it a road, for sure, declaring that it is a road and making, opening it up and doing, paying damages if the landowners aren't willing to donate the right of way, or the opposite.
Is there a timeline on what we hold people to for donating right away? I'm just asking because when I spoke to Mr. Ernsten last, he's not opposed. His son was going to bring him to Kansas so he could physically get his eyes on it before signing the document. So I just wanted to ask that.
Yeah, this has not come up in my time as county counselor where anyone has asked a member of the public to donate right of way to the county. We have always purchased right of way if we need additional right of way.
Okay.
So I wouldn't say there's any precedent on any time.
Okay, so if we did make this a road then, because we heard that Walnut Township's maintaining it like they have for years. If we make it a road, then we pay the landowner, is that what I'm hearing, for right away? Is that how?
I believe the landowner already improved the road on their own, so
It's a driveway.
it's, as improved the driveway, but the road not road in question. So
Well,
if they're maintaining it, they're maintaining a private,
Not for the entire half line.
no, before that. That was in question, or
So how was it deemed a minimum maintenance road in 2018 and didn't have right of ways?
Because we asked the townships, because the townships don't have authority to make these designations by statute. We asked the townships, all of the townships, the 8 townships in the county, for a list of their roads that they wanted designated as minimum maintenance roads. And Walnut Township responded with this road segment.
Okay,
I don't think anyone did any research to check to see if any of the roads had ever been opened as public roads or if there were road records to support them. But that's why, that's exactly what happened.
okay. So can we just put it back as a minimum maintenance road, like the resolution stated in 2018?
Not a road.
If you repeal that,
it's,
Yeah, on
Yeah.
March 25th, you repealed the resolution rescinding the prior minimum maintenance road designation.
No, we didn't do that. Okay, I forgot about that.
Yeah. But that encompasses, it's just for that road, because I know it had so many roads, like that didn't rescind
It was
every,
just on that one.
just that particular road. So then can we just do a resolution putting it back in the minimum maintenance standard?
it's not minimum maintenance anymore.
A minimum maintenance road has the same right of way rights as any other
Okay,
legal road.
thank you for that. I did not. So it was just a step missed in 2018, basically.
Yeah,
I mean, I guess you can say that. I don't know that I would have expected anybody to do that kind of research. I mean, was it a mistake by somebody? I wouldn't. I guess you can characterize it that way if you want to.
I took it more like it was, the township's trying to just decide which ones are what and just getting the rubber stamp on it. I mean, I think they probably just thought it was, all meaning.
Yeah, but if the township still believes it's a minimum maintenance road, then wouldn't, I mean,
no, we rescinded that. With, when they were here.
Mhm.
It was their recommendation that it would be treated as a private drive. We would rescind that. And at that time, then
They
it
did
was
the
over.
improvements already, so it's as a drive, so it's kind of moot point, really.
Yeah,
okay. So what's the do you have that resolution, Pat?
Is there a next resolution number?
Well, I don't have the hard copy, do you?
Oh,
I can print out
I
your
can
old
print
one.
And change the date from blank day of June to July. So 1542 would be the next resolution.
That's what I said.
Thank you. Sorry, you said 1542?
1540.
All right, so I look for a motion to approve resolution as presented by our county counselor 2024-1542. Resolution determining that there is insufficient evidence to demonstrate that Trago Road and the half-mile north of 210th Road was ever a public road. Repealing resolution number 2024-1537 and directing the Atchison County GIS Department to remove this section of Trago Road from county maps. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Aye. Passes 2-1. Thank you for that backup. This is helpful. Thank you. Okay, county councilor updates.
Tax sale was filed yesterday. So there'll be lots of work done on obtaining certificates of process over the next couple of months. There are only 40 tracks that are included in the sale.
Awesome. Executive sessions, seeing none. Do I have a motion to approve this week's expenses?
Also move.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Passes 3-0.
Thanks, guys.
Public comment? Seeing none, I'd look for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Passes 3-0.